Hey guys, this is Markart. Gonna be talking about the second script release that I made today, or actually a couple days ago. Basically, between the first and the second release here, I've changed how the script handles the texture coordinates and a little bit on the normals. Okay. Basically, what happens is your model can actually have a different vertex count than your texture count, and to make them even, you have to make changes or reconstruct the mesh or either the texture coordinates. And the way I had things set up in my old script, it was taking longer than I wanted it to. So I had to just kind of gut that feature out and just put in more streamlined basic export functions. The thing is that if you do it that way, you get bad UVs. One guy said he got an error. I have to talk to him more about what the error was about, because you shouldn't be getting any errors. It's just your model might have like some bad faces or something when you export it out, but I don't know about crashing or anything. But anyway, yeah, in this little video, I just want to talk about some of the limitations and show you guys my method of making a model. That way you guys can repeat it and whatever, right? Okay, so basically we're going to be working with in 3ds Max here, and we're going to be doing model conversion or port, what do you want to call it? Who cares? So basically, when I start off, I'm gonna so here's the script here. So first thing we're gonna do is import a existing skeleton for Miku Miku Dance. Okay. If it loads up, let's see, get one from here. Okay. So I'm just going to use Miyako, whatever her name is, because she's one of the smaller PMD files. So she's one of the default characters that actually comes with Miku Dance, and most of the animations for Miku Miku Dance are based off of the default skeleton that it uses. So that's why we're using that skeleton. Also, because those skeleton names for the animations are all written in Japanese. So you could make your own skeleton and put it in PMD. It would work just fine. But I'm pretty sure you don't know how to type out Japanese, so it'd be kind of difficult to reconstruct a new skeleton. So we're just gonna reuse the existing skeleton. Okay. So anyway, not to blab too much, but here's the imported model. We imported all the stuff that was ticked on, so things like facial expressions are enabled and stuff like that, so she can talk. And oh my god, okay. So whatever, but we don't really need that. So we're just going to delete this mesh. Okay, goodbye. I'm going to talk a little more about everything but the mesh. This green stuff here is actually the collision model. The collision model works in conjunction with the bones. Obviously, it's a lower polygonal model to save on memory usage. Anything that hits that model affects the actual model, pretty much. Okay. For this collision model to work, basically you need to attach a box or something to a bone. That way it'll affect that bone when it's hit. You also have to create hinges, or I guess you could call them physics controllers between each linkages. But you don't need them. You only need these physics controllers unless you want to use physics, obviously, something on hair or something like that. Okay. Also on the script, I included a button called Hide Collision Model. That way you can just toggle off your collision model, because that's kind of unsightly. But for our purposes, we're not really going to use the collision model at all, so we're just going to delete the whole thing. If we need to use a collision model, we're just going to create that on some kind of physics item we're going to be using. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be taking our model in now, and we're going to be shaping around this current skeleton. Before I do that, though, we're going to just clean up the skeleton, because it's got a lot of garbage that we don't really want to deal with right now. This is just for quick demonstration purposes, so don't want to get into something too complex. So what we're going to do is we're just going to delete any extra bones that are kind of in the way, like the hair bones, whatever. It's okay, you can delete bones, right? It's just when the animation file gets loaded up, it just won't play any animation on that bone affecting. So, but anyway, we just want the basic bones. So these are the basic bones. Okay. We're going to import our mesh now. I'm going to be using a model from this game here. It's low poly, and it'll be easy to deal with. Okay. So yeah, we're going to import that model now. Thing called fix. Okay, good. Oh, it's not actually what I wanted. Okay. Okay, we're gonna import this object. Okay, we're gonna import them all. Okay, because I want to show you guys about the UV thing. Okay, so basically, like I was saying before, that your UVs, your texture coordinates can actually be different than your mesh vertices. Okay, so I'm just gonna demonstrate that really quick right now. Max is slow right now. Come on. Okay, so I'm just gonna. So say you have a model, but it's all diced up in pieces, right? So you're gonna want to attach it to a single mesh. You don't have to, but now it's a single mesh. Okay. Let's just take this for instance here. So yeah, now our mesh is just one huge thing. The thing is, your model is now that's attached. Usually you would have to weld because items will still pop off. Okay, like that. Okay, and if you've done vertex weighting, then you would know that that's no good. For that fact, I'm not going to weld right now, but before you do any modifications to your model, you're going to want to check the UV discontinuities. Basically, your UVs, like I said, could be a different count. Because I've stripped the handling for the texture coordinates to increase the export speed. Now, if your count's different, the exporter will just not care and just export anyway. And the thing with that is your texture vertices will probably get all screwed up. To avoid that issue, just make sure that your discontinuities are gone. So it says right now that we have bad UVs, that our texture count is actually different than our UV count. And easy enough, we can just prove that by typing this. Dot vertex, or actually, sorry, it's number of vertex. Okay, and if we bring up the listener, and if I'm going to put a clear statement there so it clears it up. Clear listener. Okay, it says we have 2,363 vertices. So if you go to object properties, sure enough, we have 2,363 vertices. Okay, now if I add another line, number of t-verts. Run that code. It says that our texture vertices are actually 1,869. So you can see that there's a little discrepancy in the count. So when I export that to the PMD format, I'm supposed to have a texture coordinate for every vertice. So these numbers actually have to match. Okay. So in the old script, I was doing a lot of handling. I was going through each number, but the thing was that my handling was actually doing something like this. Oops. Well, it just deleted itself. No. Bananas. Okay, like I was saying, it was doing something like this. It was going through 4 million something calculations, and this is with a low poly model, okay? Imagine a high poly model like I was using. It took an hour to export that darn thing. So, yeah, that's why I stripped the texture coordinate handling, because I'm going through and reconstructing the model, doing like billions of calculations, which if your computer's not even that beefy, it'll take days to do something. So that's, if you're trying to wonder why I was stupid enough to remove that feature, it's not a stupid move. Actually, it slows down the exporter significantly, or like a lot. Right? Okay, so instead of having my script handling that, because there's no way I can make it go fast, I'd rather just have you, the user, just do something within 3ds Max to prevent this condition from happening. That way, it's not time-consuming for me or you. Okay. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is now making this model good. So obviously we have a problem. To fix that, all you're going to do is go to Export, File, and then go to Export. Then go to this little tab and go to Export Selected. Export Selected. Make sure you're on 3D Studio, 3ds. Okay, we're going to save it here. Okay, fix. Do you want to replace? Okay, and this is the thing that exporting to 3ds does. It actually fixes your texture coordinates. So make sure you have that ticked on and then click OK. Okay, so we're just going to move this to the side, and now we can just import. Okay. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, there's the fixed mesh there. So if I run this line again, you can see now that our model is now exact. Okay, it's actually gained a lot more vertices than it originally had, but now our texture should export okay. And the only issue is that we cannot weld anymore, or else we'll get bad UVs again. So there's still workarounds you can get around that. Just add a edit mesh modifier. That way you can weld, but before you export, just remove it. That's all there is to it. So you can see that the breaking there, the broken mesh by welding disappears when you weld it, right? Obviously, but you can always revert the changes back, which is what we need. So just to demonstrate that, bad UVs, good UVs. Okay. That's basically that in a nutshell. Okay, so yeah, obviously we're going to be rigging this next. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Stuck on cords everywhere. Okay, what's going on here? Wait a minute. Why is my model gray? What the heck? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna. Hopefully, I can just take the materials off that guy. They look the same anyway. Sure, why not? Poof. Good. Okay, so yeah, just delete that guy. This one's got the good UVs. Poof, okay. Where'd the skeleton go? Yeah, okay. Another thing, like I was saying last time, my script doesn't handle scaling at all. Like, I can add it in later. It's not something too complicated. It's just it's not on the top of my priority list right now. So you can't just take your model and go like that. Okay, I was explaining not to do that on your collision mesh. It's the same thing with your main mesh. So if you actually right click and go to where is it? Here it is, the transform. If you click on one of these boxes, like scale. Okay, so now if you toggle between move, rotation, and scale, you can notice that it changes between the two. This is the float box that tells you information about the model's information in the world space there. Anyway, our scale is 100%, but say you scaled it, you're going to be at like 19% or something like that. Okay, you want your mesh to be completely at 100%. If it's not, just export it to 3ds and then, I'm not sure if that'll still change anything or not. Anyway, you can just key in your value. So say I scaled it something stupid like that. You can just retype 100% in there. Okay, also check your rotation. Your rotation has to be 0. If it's something like 90, then make it 0. Okay, so make sure everything is 0 on both scale, rotation, and move. Okay, I know that's a little stupid. I gotta tweak that back into my script later on. It's just more complications when trying to get something basic done. Anyway, now what we're gonna do? We're gonna now scale it the proper way. Now we're gonna highlight all the vertices. We're gonna use scale, but change your pivot point to origin. Okay, so now when you scale down, it'll move towards the grid. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just line that little darn guy up there. Okay, done. Okay, and the arms have to be kind of in like an A-style T-pose. What we can do is just move them into a T-pose now, and then move them back down before we export. No biggie. Okay, I already cleaned up the skeleton. Before you add your skin modifier, or add the bones into your skin modifier, actually, you're going to want to hide the bone nubs. Okay, because like I said last time, you can't actually use those. And also hide the root node, because you're not supposed to be using that either. So, and before we start rigging, I just want to add a IK chain to that that scarf there. Quite simple, just make a little bone chain there. Okay, Nothing too complicated here, just something quick. And remember, every time you complete a bone chain, you're going to want to leave that little nub there, that extra useless bone. This is for PMD to calculate rotations for animation, so you always need that useless bone, okay? But keep in mind, you're not going to be able to use it, so after you create it, just hide it. Okay, so wait, actually unhide that. I'm going to be showing you guys the new feature I added, auto IK bones. So if you highlight this, and this, and including your node, or no, not your node, I mean your nub, and you hit auto IK bone, it'll automatically create an IK chain for you using your nub. Okay, well, actually using your nub as a kind of placement kind of thing. But anyway, it'll automatically create your IK. Okay, and it'll also create the collision model that you need for physics, and it also creates the physics controllers to enable that physics. So it actually completes a job that would normally take you 10 minutes within the actual Miku editor. You just did it in like a few seconds. So that's something I'm kind of proud of. It's gonna really speed up what do you call that, creation time of models. Also, there's another thing I want to add, which is add collision box. So instead of creating an IK chain and physics controllers, it's just going to add boxes for your collision model. But I haven't finished that yet. And also I'm going to have these other buttons that'll change out the capsule to, like, say, a sphere or a box or something. It's just a few more things I want to add for the tools. But anyway, so yeah, that's good. One last thing we have to do is obviously attach that bone, but we can do that later. We're going to do the skinning now. Every time you do skinning, make sure you enter animation mode. Very important. Okay, oh, we have to add the bones first. Okay, so there's the bones. So we're going to enter vertice mode, and we're going to enter this thing. Okay, and now we can move our model around. Okay. Again, I'm not going to do anything too fancy here. I'm just going to get this kind of stabilized, and I'll just export it out. Oh, actually, I forgot one thing, very critical. When you add skin, make sure that you go down to the advanced parameters and set the bone effect limit from 20 to 2. Okay, and when you do that, that only means you can only use 2 bones per vertice. Okay, the reason for that is that Miku Dance can only handle 2. Okay. Also, when you do that, make sure you go to remove 0 weights, just to prevent any problems. Okay, so there we go. Oops, I kind of added the wrong area of the body. Okay, is that her butt? What the heck is that? Oh, that's actually part of the scarf. So this junk now. Alright, so this stuff is weighted, I think. Yeah, good enough. The hat's kind of messed up. Alright, that's good enough. Oops. Okay, so I'm losing my voice. Okay. So yeah, when you're doing your skin weighting, make sure you turn on or toggle on this. The reason for that is if your model has a break in it, or yeah, it's like broken or whatever. What the heck? There we go. Okay. Just gonna demonstrate this. Okay, so when you use blend on a broken model, you'll get something to this effect. Or yeah, you can see that the model actually tore apart in these kind of areas. Very simple, just toggle on this and toggle it back off, and voila. Okay, and your UVs will still be the same. Okay, so that's the plus about this. There is a negative, but that's only when dealing with the morph targets, because it gets a little slightly complicated. But what I do is I actually detach the face from the body. That way it limits the amount of issues. Anyway, for right now, what we're going to worry about is the skinning. I think that's good enough, and we'll just carry on to exporting it out. So we can actually exit animation mode now. Okay, and we're going to export this baby out. Okay. Oh yeah, one last thing before you do any exporting, you're going to want to check to see that everything is attached to your root bone. The root bone is this thing here. Okay, this giant green pillar. Okay, we're just going to grab it and move it somewhere. Okay, you can notice how the bones here that I created I forgot to attach. So that's just a little reminder. We're going to attach those now, and then we're going to export. Okay, so we're just going to take this. Also, by the way, when you have physics, you have to have kind of like another box for these other boxes kind of hanging off to attach to. So we're just going to create really quickly a box for these other collision models to stick to. Okay, again, you cannot use scale. Okay, I know you guys are probably like, I really want to use scaling right now. Yeah, I'll add it in later, but for right now, just whatever. Alright, so remember last time when I was explaining how to add manual collision models, or add collision models manually, you have to add a box, then attach it to a bone. Okay, and then as you do that, you also have to create a linkage for physics. If you want a physics controller, by the way. If you don't, then don't add one, but we want one. So we're going to go to the reactor tool. We're just going to highlight two objects and click on that. Automatically create that hinge point for us. We're also going to move the controller somewhere a little more different. Okay, so now it's going to be a little more logical. Alright, so okay, like I said before, we're going to want to move these bones down so they're like in an A pose. That way it doesn't mess up the animation file too badly. I think it would kind of look like that. Okay, so we're good to go. We're just going to check the UVs again. We're good. Okay, we're going to slam the exporter. Yeah, it's folder here. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's have a go at it. Okay, so here's the model here. Nothing too special. Looks like a model with some skinning problems. But anyway, whoa, it kind of like twisted on me. Oh, that's bananas. Pretty nutty. Alright, I'm just going to... Sometimes Max does some really weird things. What we're just going to do is we're going to unlink that. Yeah, that's weird. And we're just going to delete the collision model there because it went wonky on me. Alright, so we're going to attach first this time. So now that this is attached, right? Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so not deformed or nothing. Okay, cool. Okay, poof. Forgot that. Point to point. Poof. Alright, so look at that. Okay, there's only one more concern that I have, is that when I was looking at the materials in Max, the ambient was actually a little bit low. Little weird thing about this program is I've been messing around with 3D for quite a while, but I never really messed around with ambient. Usually I use ambient as like a global factor when I'm making a render or something like that. But like ambient for Miku Miku Dance has a significant impact on the way the model looks. So if I make that black, their whole thing turns black. It's not like a global ambient. It's like the ambients are actually affecting those meshes. Okay. Anyway, I noticed that the ambient was a bit low. It's kind of weird. Like the spec layer will actually kind of multiply with the ambient and create your model. Your model kind of glows if it's got like full white ambient. So you kind of want to have it like kind of gray and your diffuse kind of a little white. Okay. So you kind of want to swap these values. Okay. Otherwise, your model's gonna have some glowing issues. Okay. I was considering about forcing this kind of normalization of your ambient in the export script, but the thing is, if you take a model from Miku Miku Dance and you just want to make a simple edit, you import and export, and say my script forcefully normalizes your diffuse and ambient, it kind of disrupts the original model's material system. So that's why I haven't done that. But later on, this is just so so annoying that later on I'll probably will create some little feature where you guys can actually nullify the materials. The reason why the materials are messed up in the beginning is because that model I had was exported and imported from somewhere else, from the object file. Okay, so I imported the materials from the object, which was imported from who knows where. So that's why the materials were like, okay. But you can still fix this in Max. It probably take a little bit longer. What you could do is you could go into material editor. Okay. And just copy this to diffuse. Then you can click on this button. It says reset map to default settings. And then you're going to go to both. And now it just nullifies both your ambient and your diffuse. Okay. Pretty much all you have to do is just make them dark. It does the same thing. Yeah. Paste copy. Normally you don't really touch ambient and diffuse. At least not in 3ds Max. All you have to just make it like half. Okay. But anyway, I'm not gonna worry too much about the materials right now. Something to worry about later. Replace. Okay. Main thing is that we got a textured model in there with vertice weights. Yeah, pretty much. Another issue, you can see that the shoulders are kind of like what's the word I look for? They're kind of detached, right? I forgot to turn this on. By default, normals are turned off. But if you turn those on, that'll fix that issue. Basically, this will lag the performance just slightly, not a lot, just slightly, just like a few seconds. But that's why it's turned off, because it does delay performance. Anyway, let's go to save. If I didn't already do it. Okay. So let's open this little guy up in Miku Miku Dance and fire in. Okay, so load up. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, the materials are going to be a little wonky. Yeah. Alright, let's just fix this in Max. Really quick here. not working today. There you go, work now. We gotta change it. Yeah. I'm gonna change that and probably the speckler. And like that 10. Like that 10. Or 1. Okay, so for whatever material. Materials 10. Okay, so if I run that, I do believe forgot something critical there. What's it called? Material list. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna make a tool for that later on. I think that'd be nice. Sucks materials are messed up. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna make some extra tool in the third release of the script. That'll just fix the stupid materials. Because when you hop between different programs, like where I got the object file for this model, sometimes the materials get a little wonky. Anyway, export this again. Oh, since I'm exporting it again, I'm going to turn on the normals. Okay, let's see how that goes. Okay, so you can see now that I have normals on that the shoulder looks a little bit better. You really can't really notice it that too much. Anyway, oh, actually, didn't really work too well, did it? Yeah, let's try this. Okay, I forgot. When you use weld normals, it's just gonna do some normal exportation. But if you want to remove those seams, you actually have to use an edit normals modifier. And you actually have to go and weld them, similar to how you would weld mesh. Okay, I don't know if I can really show it off too well. Anyway, it's there. Well, I'll show you again. I'll export it again. You'll see the difference. Yep. Okay. Just close that. I should have kept it open. Oh well. Ding. Okay. So you can see now the shoulder. I don't think you can see any seams there. Yeah. So the shoulder's a lot better now. So yeah. So that'll cover any kind of like breaks in the mesh or whatever, the normal welding. Anyway, what was I going to show off again? I don't know. It's weird. The materials look good in here, but actually, if the ambient's really screwed up, they'll show really weird and make you dance. Like that. Let's load that again. Okay, you can see some of the things like the leg that I fixed up. They're okay, but the rest of her body's kind of messed up. Anyway, that's just a material issue. Just kind of ignore that for now. Let's see. We're gonna fix the physics for that. So if I go to anytime, you can notice that there's no physics there. Okay, so we're just going to edit the physics model. We want the base to be static and the rest to be dynamic. Dynamic. Okay. Doesn't really work that well. Okay. The reason why it's not really swinging is because we have to also configure the constraints for the physics controllers. It's just so annoying, the setup. It's just I never really deal with it. We'll put a 50% constraint there by -30, 30, and -30 by 30. Okay. And it should sway a little bit more better. And we'll just load an animation file. Yeah, good enough. Alright. It doesn't really show too good, does it? Holy crap. Okay, gravity settings. This is the wind direction. Okay, there's a few skinning issues I think I forgot to clean up. I don't know why it's sticking like that. What's going on there? 50% to bone 5. Bone 4. Oh, that's my nub. Yeah. Okay, I don't know how I got the nub in there, but like I was saying, you can't actually use the nub for skinning. What happened was I actually added weights to that bone, which I shouldn't have done. So anyway, that's what's causing that error, but whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much porting a model to Miku Miku Dance in a nutshell. There's a lot of critical things you have to think about. Obviously, like the textures is kind of stupid, but yeah, still, I think the Max script is a pretty easy method for Max users because unlike the PMD editor tool, this guy here, 3ds Max is a little more easier to get around with the skin weights. Like you can use grow and stuff like that, and you can isolate weights, and you can use animation mode to test the weights and stuff like that. Like you can get like a complex rig in here, and it would take you a lot less than it would if you did it in here. You also have more flexibility with the mesh and stuff like that, and whatever. Okay, you could do, like I've seen some guys do some pretty cool stuff with this editor, but with the power of 3ds Max, you have like endless possibilities. Okay, and I know there are some limitations right now. I'm still working on the script. Obviously, it's still a beta, as per se here, but yeah. That's what this YouTube video is going to be about. It's just to show you guys how to effectively use the script until most of the bugs get rolled out or squished out, whatever. So yeah, that's using the script in a nutshell. Sorry it took 40 minutes. If you have any more questions, let me know. Like I said last time, this one guy, he had a problem with it crashing. Just let me know what's up with that, and I'll see if I can kind of repeat that issue. At the end of the post here, I actually posted up a small fix that caused crashing with the GUI for import. So yeah, just replace your script with this script, the version 0.5b version. Okay, that's the latest version. And I'm still working on the script right now. I got to add a few things and fix up a few other things, but whatever. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for listening.